Welcome to Game of Roses. I'm Chad Kulchin. The first two episodes of the Beast Games, the new reality format from Amazon and MrBeast, are out today. I just finished watching the first episode, and let's just say there's a lot to discuss. Some brief backstory before we get into the actual episode. On September 16th of this year, 5 Beast Games players filed a class action lawsuit against MrBeast, his production company, Off One's Base LLC, Amazon Alternative LLC, and 100 anonymous other individuals. The complaint alleged that the Beast Games contestants experienced widespread mistreatment, sexual harassment, unpaid expenses and wages, including not being paid at all and not being paid for overtime. Other allegations include contestants having medication taken away from them and being denied access to it throughout the duration of the show. The production company is having significant control over the eating, clothing, and sleeping arrangements of the contestants, a lack of background checks of contestants, and misrepresenting how many contestants were to appear on the show and therefore the actual odds of winning the prize money. So those are some serious allegations. You might be wondering, what could the premise of such a show be that would even allow producers to withhold medication from players? Well, Beast Games is a Squid Game challenge clone with $5 million in place of Squid Game's $4.6 million and 1,000 players in place of Squid Game's 456. Those two numbers are the largest prize pool and player pool of any reality show in history. Now, it's important, I think, to remember that the original Squid Game, the scripted show which gave birth to the reality show, was a huge hit on Netflix. It was a story about how skewed the world has become because of wealth inequality. It was set in this kind of alternate present where the wealthy elite produce and attend a private reality show in which poor people kill each other for a chance to win life-changing money. The scripted show is overtly dystopian. The message of the original Squid Game is that a world in which wealthy people are entertained by watching poor people killing each other for money is a bad world that we should not want to live in. Then cut to Squid Game The Challenge, which aired in November of 2023, and it seems the message from the original Squid Game was lost because we are now living in a world in which there is a reality show based on Squid Game. Squid Game The Challenge recreated the torturous games from the scripted show and had real people playing them. They don't die if they lose in the reality show like they did in the scripted show, but the producers do make them act like they're dying. They put squibs on their bodies that explode when they get eliminated from the game. I guess just in case there's any billionaires watching who do want to see that human death. Now, enter MrBeast. The table is kind of set. He leverages his vast YouTube empire with more subscribers than anybody in the history of the platform to create the next level of Squid Game The Challenge. More players, more money, and much more brazen flaunting of wealth than we ever saw in Squid Game. You can take, for example, just the presentation of the money itself in each of these games. Squid Game had $4.6 million. It's suspended in a kind of clear piggy bank hanging from the ceiling. It's out of reach of any of the players directly, by anyone else as well, for that matter, anybody who works on the show. The money comes in from the ceiling as though a god is dropping it down. It's more symbolic than actual. But in Beast Games, the money is presented as a mountain at the top of which stands MrBeast himself. A giant pile of bills in the center of the room, haphazardly dumped onto the set, giving MrBeast a perch from which he can oversee all of the suffering of the players in his games. Players in both of the games, we should mention, are given uniforms with numbers instead of names. No change there. They still remove the identity of the players and send them in as these nameless numbers. But in the Beast Games, the hosts serve a vastly different function than the masked men of Squid Games. The masked men are never seen. You never see their faces. They are facilitators for these billionaires who are actually controlling the game. They're just employees who are detached from the proceedings, simply doing a job. In Beast Games, MrBeast has guards just like that, these kind of faceless, nameless enforcers of the rules and, of course, protectors of the money mountain. But he also has other MrBeasts, a handful of MrBeast friends, producers, content creators. They all don the same outfit he's wearing, this black suit, black kind of blazer with a black hoodie. They're all wearing, again, the exact same outfit, and they perform beastly duties like trying to convince players to betray one another for money, just as MrBeast would. There is also similarity in the elimination ceremonies of Beast Games, and at least one of the challenges in Squid Game. We're talking about the glass walkway challenge in Squid Game. When players got eliminated on that, they dropped through a trap door to what was conveyed through editing and special effects to be their deaths. Beast Games 2 employs this kind of digitally enhanced realm, like an alternate reality. And they include a trapdoor to this digital hell for players who get eliminated. And speaking of hell, let me simply say, at one point in this show, in the pilot, a man named Mr. Beast stands on a mountain of money, bathed in blood red light, as he tries to manipulate people into entertaining him with their misery. I'll simply leave that there. After a few rounds of these kind of psychological games and one round of building with styrofoam blocks, they keep carving off huge sections of the initial player base. They're down to just under 500 players who did not get sent into the abyss through a trapdoor. They are told that the next round of the game will require them to live in a place called Beast City, which Mr. Beast tells us is a $15 million compound that he had built just for this show. It was built in an abandoned airport in Toronto called Downsview. So this is a man who has enough money to purchase an abandoned airport and then build a fake city in it for the purposes of this reality show. The constant mentioning of how much everything costs, that this is the most money ever given away on a game show, displaying the cash itself in a stack of money or in briefcases as they come out to bribe people. It is a stylistic choice, I think, that seems very much out of touch with the current sentiment in America. The original thesis of the scripted Squid Game has kind of been discarded in service of what seems to be purposely sinister presentation of the ultra wealthy enjoying the suffering of the common person. The thing that is meant to be bad in the original Squid Game is now just what the show is, and it's what Beast Games is as well. At this moment, do people want to watch a person with hundreds of millions of dollars flippantly dropping random players through a trap door as he and his friends lounge on a mountain of money that will be life-changing for 99% of Americans? I certainly don't know. Time is going to tell. I will be watching every episode of this show on our Patreon, which you can join me to do at patreon.com/Game of Roses. But I do think that the show is important. It is marking a moment where you get to watch, if you choose to, a man who is worth hundreds of millions of dollars laughing at the misery of other people as he literally throws money at them. And this is a show produced and aired by one of the biggest corporations in the world, headed by a billionaire. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to do well or not, but I am curious to see how it affects everything. Thank you for joining me for this little breakdown.